Hey there, it's Jitsie, and you're listening to the Crush Chronicles podcast, a safe space to discuss crushes and how they affect our lives. So grab your coffee or wine, pull out your old diaries, and settle in for today's topic and discussion. Well, hello there. Welcome to the bonus episode for season 2 of the Crush Chronicles podcast. This is where I share with you the extra content and discussions that were not shared in the original release of each guest's episodes. Before that, I have to go over every podcast listener's favorite piece of episodes, housekeeping. I promise to keep it brief. The Crush Chronicles podcast is an interview-based podcast in which my guests read an excerpt from my serialized memoir on Substack of the same name, The Crush Chronicles, but the script is flipped as I use the excerpt as an inspiration for the questions I ask to get to know each guest and their unique experiences with crushes and relationships. I had to say that because I realized I never really said that in season 1 or season 2. That's the concept of the show. This podcast is released bi-weekly or every other week, but to better prepare for season 3, we will be taking a very, very brief break. Instead of releasing our premiere episode of season 3 in 2 weeks, we will begin on November 19th, so mark your calendar. So all we're doing is just skipping 1 week in which we would have normally released. If you're watching this episode on YouTube, first of all, thank you. I have only recently returned to my abandoned channel, and my handle there is at JitsieTube if you're curious. Or if you're watching the video on Substack, please be aware that I began video episodes over halfway through this season. So while some episodes will have video, and by episodes I mean clips of episodes I'm about to share, others will not. Also, this episode is a benefit for paid subscribers to your hosts, Substack, The 9 Lives of Rachel Jitsuwat. Your host is me, Rachel Jitsuwat. But here's a free preview for everyone to enjoy. So our season began with me, Jitsie, sharing my top 3 millennial crushes. Who do you think was on the list? Andrew Keegan, Devon Sawa, Josh Hartnett? Head over to episode 1 after this to see who made preteen Rachel's top 3 millennial celebrity crushes. Next, with episode 2, we went into Erica's episode, which was a unique one because Erica was with me for 4 out of the 5 crushes that have been released on my Substack so far. I have many crushes to write about and to post and release. I release them by chapter on my Substack. And out of the 5 crushes I've already written about, Erica was there for 4. So I encourage you to listen to Erica's episode. It's titled Heartbreak on Memory Lane. And here's what Erica shared with me that no one else has heard before. Earlier, I shared the memory of walking down the hallway with you while pointing out Robbie. What memory, if any, would you like to share about that time in our lives?
I do think about this sometimes, and it's so funny. I'm hoping Rachel will remember it. But Rachel was the only one in our friend group for a while that had a car. So she was nice and drove us all around. Luckily, in our small town, like one end to the other is like 15 minutes. So she didn't have to go too far. But she also lived pretty close to a place where my first crush, Heartbreak, Marty, worked. So we would go visit Marty every day, multiple times a day. Like,
we did not plan this with Marty, though. It was we would visit on our own.
It was like
thoughts
looking down every aisle is where like, oh, he's works in this section now. No, he works in this section now. Oh, there he is. And like, oh, what am I gonna say when I go say hi to him? And that kind of girly stuff that you do in high school. One day, I'm pretty sure it's just me and Rachel. We were there, and like people from our high school worked there. To be completely honest, it was a grocery store, a very nice, like fancy grocery store. So like our friends were checkers and baggers and all kinds of things. And they'd see me coming in and be like, because they knew why we were there. And we saw one of my good friends at the time that I was in dance with in high school. She dated this super nice football player. I remember he was so nice. And he was like, "Oh, hey, Rachel, hey, Erica. He's not here today." And I was like, "What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about." Because I guess the entire world knew that I liked this boy. And he was like, "He's not working today." And I was like, "Okay." We were kind of standing. He was like coming out of the break room. He was like, "I can just like go write down his schedule for the next 2 weeks for you guys." And right when I'm like, "No," the same time I'm screaming, "No," Rachel's like, yes, please. Can you do that? And I'm like, because she's probably like, that way we like don't have to keep driving here and he's not here. No, he went, and this is kind of creepy now that I think about it, but we were innocent. He went and wrote down his
Yes.
schedule and on a piece of paper and gave it to us. So for the next 2 weeks, we knew when he would be working and days and times. So it made our
Yes.
trips a little easier for 2 weeks.
Yes. It streamlined the process here.
Streamlined the process of looking at him from far away, maybe waving and saying hello, and then walking
It,
out of the store.
it's
So,
so true. It just really speaks to, especially because you said, like, you tried to play it off like, I don't, what are you talking about? Like, I'm sure people that weren't teenagers and worked there knew.
oh, yes, for sure.
Like, the manager probably knew, like,
Gosh.
because as sneaky as we may have thought that we were, we probably just weren't. We probably weren't. We were probably very obvious because now, being an adult now and looking back, just anytime teenagers, I call them youths,
Hmm.
anytime youths are in the vicinity, they're always loud and they're always obvious. They may not realize it, but that's just how they are. And especially, I feel like because we were two very boy crazy teenage girls, we were probably even more obvious, but we totally thought we were like on the low, like playing it cool, like being chill. But yeah, we were probably very obvious.
Yeah, for sure. And this guy, he like had an on again, off again girlfriend when he like I liked him and he was kind of like hanging out with me. I just remember one time one of our other girlfriends and one of our friends that worked there, they were with me and I was talking to Marty and they were like letting us have our whatever flirty time. But I didn't know this, but they were like doing like caw caw like in the market. Like, and I didn't know because they were trying to get my attention because his ex or girlfriend or whatever like
Oh
walked
no.
up to us while I was talking to this boy and she was like, hi. And I was like, I just stared at her and I just like ran away quickly. Like I did the teenager thing and was like,
Did not play it cool that time.
just so everyone knows, this is like a crush. I was no like homewrecker or anything
Yeah,
of that
no.
sort. This is me literally like, he said my shirt was cool and like that was
Yes. And to be clear, he was very hot. Like
yes.
he was I
He
didn't mind doing this errand.
we had a big Johnny Depp phase, me and Rachel did when we were in high school.
Yes.
And he looked a lot like Johnny Depp, like pale, slightly anemic looking, like very much my type at the time. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
It
Rachel
was
didn't mind.
I did not mind. It was nice to just, get an eye candy snack. But yeah, I love that. I feel like if I were to go back in my journals, there would be many an entry about going to that store
And just
and
ridiculous. Like,
whatever dumb crap we did.
so silly. We were silly.
Yeah. Next, we have Jasmin, beautiful spirit and shop owner of the local gem collective in Orange, California. You can check out her episode, The Romance of Meet Cutes and Finding Affection for Yourself. Let's see what Jasmin shared with us in her bonus material. My writing, like most people who create, is a piece of me that I have decided to share with the world. What is something that you would consider a piece of you that you have created to share with the world?
Oh my God, it's like it's everything. It's my store. Most recently, I hosted a Filipino market. So it's called the Maganda Market. And that's a big deal for me because growing up, I looked Hispanic. Like I look, I just look Mexican, like, and I'm half. My dad's Mexican and my grandfather was indigenous, so he's half also. My mom's Filipino. And I remember I went to elementary school in Cerritos, so it's predominantly Asian descent. And I was just always put in that bucket of being Mexican or Hispanic. And I remember being half and I just didn't feel enough. I didn't feel enough, like I had enough like Mexican in me because I didn't speak Spanish. I didn't feel that the Filipino heritage resonated with me because I didn't speak the language and I didn't look Filipino. So I kind of repressed it without even really trying. I just kind of suppressed it as I got older. And when I left my job, something shifted because I opened local gem collective. My first location was upstairs in a like creepy, it smells like a dental office when you walk in, but I'm so grateful for that space. It's upstairs. It was hard to find, but when I put the SOS out for vendors, majority were Filipina. And I remember I was like, this is insane. The girl across from me, her name's Jocelyn. She owns and operates the Wave Studio. She owns a hair salon now. Like she's doing great things. It was almost like I surrounded myself with that, like I was open to receive that. And this sounds ridiculous, like that I'm saying it out loud, but I still felt like maybe I'm still just like not enough. Like they speak it, they understand it. I don't know. And as I've got to know them, like the topic of not feeling enough is not just a me thing, it's all of us, everyone, because this isn't our homeland. Like none of us feel enough. There's a girl, a woman, her name's Chrissy. She's the owner and maker of Lola Paz Designs. And like when I think of like a beautiful, like Filipino woman, I think of her. And I did her podcast, and she was like, I don't feel Filipino enough. And it was like a funny, but I was like, girl, if you don't, like, how do you think I feel? What do you mean? So I hosted this market, and we had a ton of interest. The way the community showed up and like the kindness in the guests and customers that came that day, like all of the girls, as I was looking around, I got emotional because I'm like, I do look like you. Like we do look alike. Like you're so kind, you're so welcoming. And I felt like that event was almost like a outing for myself, like acceptance almost. It was beautiful. So we're gonna do it again. That's probably gonna be like a quarterly thing.
I love that you brought that up because I feel like not only a whole episode, but probably a whole show could be done about being mixed race because I'm half white, I'm half Thai. And I guess I look very racially ambiguous every place that I've moved to, because I did move a lot being a military brat. I always looked like I always would get, I don't want to say misidentified. I don't feel like that's the word, but they would just think I was local to wherever I was. So when I was in South Dakota, I would have, indigenous peoples there come and talk to me in their native tongue thinking I was, and I was like, I don't know what you're saying. When I
Yeah.
was in Florida, people would start speaking to me in Spanish all the time. And just when I was in Hawaii with my mom, we both got mistaken for locals, which was we're very flattered. We're like, oh, you think we look Hawaiian? Okay. But yeah, just anywhere we went, which it was cool and it was nice because we would get to connect with these people that maybe not would have always like come up to us otherwise. But also it did make me feel a little lost because I also feel like not a lot of people talk. We know Thai food in America, but that's kind of it. Like we don't really talk about Thai culture and stuff. So, and I also, because you said you kind of felt like you like repressed it a little bit. I also did. I remember like a lot of times growing up, I have such big regrets. My mom would be like, well, this is the Thai custom is to do this. And I'd be like, talk about snarky teenagers. I'd be like, Mom, we're not in Thailand, we're in America. Okay, like calm down. Like, don't worry. Like, why she didn't just smack me on the side of the head. If I could, I'd go back and smack myself on the side of the head now as, a full-on woman who's like learning and knowing and understanding who she is. I'm really like reaching out and trying to look for like, any Thai community or anything like that. It just any connection back to that root because I understand that it's going to get lost as the generations move forward because I don't speak Thai. I didn't raise my kids. Well, I try, but like there's not really much I know to incorporate with the Thai culture, but it's still very important to me. It's a part of me. I'm the first generation of, the Thai American in our family. My mom and her sisters immigrated over here when they were teenagers. And yeah, I really resonate with that. And I feel like there's a lot of that's going on in both locally and
Yeah,
in our country.
there's like an awakening happening, and I think I try to find the silver lining. There's a lot of societal pressure, going on in the world, and I think that's forcing a lot of us inward. And I think when we look inward, it's like an identity crisis because, like I said, like this isn't our land. I mean, similar to you, where I feel that like longing for it, like I'm looking for that home. My cousin and I talked about it recently. We're like, our Lola, like our grandma is getting older. She's in her mid 90s. And the things that like, we would get not mad at, but like, oh my God, the house smells like garlic, or like, oh my God. And it's like now that she can't cook, it's like, God, I would like kill to smell that again, or I would kill to eat
Yeah.
that food again. And I feel like in life, that's like the conundrum, right? When we realize that it's almost too late. And it's like, I think the beauty in that is we'll live the next 60, 70 years of our lives chasing that and trying to find that and share that with the next generation. So it sucks, but I do try to find the silver lining in that.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think it's also okay that we will be spending the next 60 or whatever years, because I do believe, life's the journey. Like you're not always going to be at your destination. It's kind of like that moving goalpost. Like once you think you got where you got, and because the one thing that is consistent is change, and you're always going to be changing. Your environment's always going to be changing, and that means you're allowed to change your mind and do new things. But yeah, it's okay if we're always going to be yearning for that connection. It just shows us that that's still a part of who we are. Yeah, thank you. I love that you brought that into your answer. Then we have my sister-in-law, Sam, who shared a tad about what it was like to experience his crushes as a highly sensitive person. Check out her episode 4. Here's her extra content. I have always been an avid journaler. What is a practice you have had since childhood, and why do you do it?
Same for me, journaling, 100%. I've always been a journaler. I think, especially as a highly sensitive person, it can be a really powerful and nourishing tool for us to use. It's a safe and private space. We're able to take the time to process all that cycling that's going on in our head, that rumination of events or how we felt. We can explore ourselves more deeply, and we can release just that intensity of our emotions there. You can be also honest. A lot of highly sensitive people fall into the category of people pleasing because we're so aware and we're so empathetic of other people that we can not be honest or push down our own needs to make other people comfortable, to let them hold up space and not allow us to. And in the journal, you get to take up all the space on those pages. You get to be completely honest with how you really feel and not feel like someone's going to judge you or tell you you're wrong or gaslight you. And you can just process and let that all go on the pages.
Oh, that's so well said, how you get to take up all of the space. I never thought about it like that, but it's so true. I very much am like a people pleaser recovering person.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, and I'm sure a lot of people feel this way who fall into the people pleasing category, I would get uncomfortable because I could sense when someone else was unhappy. And because you're so empathetic, because I am also too a very empathetic person, you can feel their discomfort and you want to fix it. That's also kind of like the healer in me. There's a healer in you too, which you can't always fix other people. Nor do they always want to be fixed. So you got to calm down a little bit.
Yes.
It is not our, it took lifetimes to learn, but yeah, that's why I would feel so uncomfortable. But yeah, that the journal pages were the comfortable space where, I would never do this in real life, but I could cuss somebody out if I was really mad or which I would never, again, even though I felt that way, would never actually do it because again, don't want to hurt their feelings. Even post journaling and healing, I still trying not to hurt other people's feelings.
Yes.
But I love how you describe that as taking up the space, because I also touch on this a lot when I write, because as women, we're kind of also taught not to take up space. We get talked over, we get looked over, and just kind of shoved into the background of the house. Like it's hard to take up your space and grow it and like really fulfill it.
As women, as children too, I think we're taught at a very young age to be quiet, to not be so loud, to not have these crazy emotions of outbursts and stuff, and to shrink ourselves because we're too much.
Yes, which totally affects us in our adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
Which sounds like it's common sense, but it's also really hard for everybody to learn. And all those things that you described, like don't be loud, don't be overexpressive. Those are like all the things that are joyous for us as children. We're basically being told like don't experience your joy in the way that you would like
just
to.
Extinguish that light that's just naturally coming from you, to dim the light.
Yeah.
To be more, make other people more comfortable, make society feel more comfortable. Don't step out of line, be like everybody else and conform. We just push it down and it can become this darkness within us. And I know when I was a lot of my journaling, young adult, very dark. If I were to reread a lot of that stuff, very dark, very self-hatred, very what's wrong with me all the time? Who am I? Because of having to, with this being a highly sensitive person and not knowing what that was. And I really didn't even discover what that was until the last couple of years is when it really clicked for me and I deep dived into it. But by suppressing that, being told by everybody else around me, it just created this extreme darkness within me.
Yeah. Yeah, I also recently, I think I had learned from one other source before I read your Substack about what a highly sensitive person was. And obviously, like, it deeply resonated. Also, this may seem random, but have you seen the movie Thunderbolts?
Is this the new Avengers one?
Mm-hmm.
No, but my mom was telling me about the guy who has that darkness, right?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. I think that's going to be my favorite movie of the year.
Mm,
And it hit home for, I think, a lot of people. So I highly recommend it.
okay.
Because, yeah, it was really good, and it hits home on a lot of the levels that we're talking about right
Mm.
now. And also, too, when you're talking about going back and reading your journals and seeing, like, the darkness and stuff, when I reread mine, because obviously I have to reread them when I'm
Yeah.
researching myself for my writing, it's just amazing how mean I was to myself. And it's just so disheartening because not only was I doing that to myself in my safe space, that was my safe space, like you just said.
Yeah.
I would be like, oh my God, I'm so fat, or